So my topic today is around visualizing competency assessment. And I'm really happy to see a bunch of people here. Some of them have been in a workshop earlier in the week, so actually just yesterday. And others have been talking about some of those strategies themselves and kind of about competencies, about assessment. And what I'd like to do in the next few minutes is just really briefly introduce you to an idea that we are having. And especially also at this conference this time, we've seen the tension that learning and assessment can have. We want our students to be lifelong learners, to learn for themselves, to learn what is relevant, to make learning purposeful. But then on the other side, we do have the assessment part. And as we've seen in the workshop yesterday that I facilitated, we've got the whole gamut from opium of the world all the way to assessment being really, really important. And so how can we deal with that? Well, one point is that we can use as an e-portfolio. Because in an e-portfolio, you can put your evidence in, you can reflect on your learnings, and you can assemble the evidence and the learnings in many different ways, because you're not just having one e-portfolio, but you can have multiple e-portfolios. So you can have one for assessment, but then also use the same evidence, similar reflections or different reflections for other purposes, for applying for a job, for an internship, or for professional development. And so at the moment, a number of people do already use portfolios for assessment purposes, in particular when it is around competency assessment, because that's kind of where not only professions are going, but also what we see increasingly at the university level with graduate attributes and the like. And so here's just a very typical one. You have your standards on the left with the substandards. You have your evidence that can be text, multimedia. You have your reflections, and then you might have some resources. So now the assessor comes along and says, well, I need to have a good overview where the student is at, how much I still need to assess, what I need to look at. And then we have a nice big table that is either printed out on a piece of paper and the check marks are placed manually, or you have the electronic version somewhere saved on your computer, and the student may never really see it or only sees it at the end. And doesn't really say much. Yes, you have ticks there, but what else? So some people have come up with what I called here enhanced evidence maps. This one is from Tom Babbitt at the University of Canberra. So he basically took the idea of the evidence map from paper, transferred it into a spreadsheet, put some coding in so that he at least has a traffic light analogy. So green students have done really well, red they still need to do stuff, yellow and orange they are somewhere in between. So this already helps the students better to see where they are at. He enhances that even more, not just by providing them with a table overview, but by also having a spider web. And his assessments are throughout the semester. So he does these things multiple times so that students can actually see their progress. So the spider web from the first 4 weeks of term time looks different from the spider web, or ideally looks different from the spider web of the next 4 weeks and so on, so that students can really see where they are at and how they grow. Now, kind of if we briefly look back at those 3 maps, they're done kind of manually. The first one, printing it out, putting check marks in, or storing it on a computer. The other one, spreadsheet. The spreadsheet always needs to be emailed around or needs to be kept up to date and can't be lost, and the tutor might have a different version than the student has, and so it's kind of very manually. And so what we are trying to do is look into how we can automate that a bit. And it's not just so much about automation of having somebody grade things manually, but more around putting everything also in one place, so that you have one central place that the evidence map stays with the portfolio, the student has access to it, the instructor has access to it, the assessor has access to it, the university administrator might have access to it even at some point, and also that you have different views of that, because instructors work differently. Some want to grade just one standard, the others want to see everything from one student in context. And so the idea that we have for Mahara, and I have to say some other systems might already have something like that, but we really want to look into evidence maps because Mahara comes from the tradition of being more of a personal learning environment. So we have the student in the center. We are not an assessment portfolio, and we don't want to be an assessment portfolio, but we do want to enhance the functionalities that are available to students to make their learning more transparent and to see what is happening. And so we kind of take that idea of the evidence map and want to digitize it, make it in different views, and that's where all you come in, already current Mahara user and otherwise aspiring Mahara users, namely that you can join the design team. You can join the team in finding out what functionalities could work, what is important to you, what you'd like to see more in the future, in order to then actually improve things. And then also, if you're interested in seeing the design documents, then I'm very happy to share those with you. The initiative was started by the University of Canberra, and we've already involved a few others, because as we learned in Joyce's presentation yesterday, it is not just one quick thing that can be done and looking at one user group, but we need to take all stakeholders into account. And that's where it's really important to kind of involve all of you who might be interested in it. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing from you.